Hi, everybody. Okay, so I'm back with another K-drama to see. Have you already seen it? And if not, is this something that you would check out? So before we get into this video, you already know the drill. Like this video, follow me for more, and share this with someone that you know that would be into K-dramas and would potentially check it out. Okay, so let's get into it. The name of this K-drama is called Hotel de Luna. Now, the opening scene, we essentially see this woman soldier, and she's like venturing through barren lands, deserts, everything and then some, because she's trying to get somewhere where I guess the dead are able to rest. And she comes across this elderly woman, and the woman says, the only people who are able to access here are people that have either killed someone or that are going to kill someone. How many people have you unalived? He then proceeds to tell this woman that the only way that you can get to the location that you're seeking is if you were not alive. And the woman at some point essentially kind of like tricks her, and after she tries to attack her, and she gets pretty much confined and sentenced to having to run a hotel for, I would say, as punishment for her crimes in what she did during that time. And we, fast forward a couple hundred years, and we see that she's been managing this hotel pretty well, and the hotel is, I would say, pretty high end hotel. And then it pans out to another scene of a young boy who we see out with his father, and I guess the dad is a really crooked man. The dad tried to steal the wallet of another man, and the young boy saw, and the young boy said, "Here, sir, you dropped your wallet." Now, the older woman that we remember from seeing at the very beginning of this show, the woman says, "We see that you unfortunately have this man as your father, but don't worry, this is the end of your misfortune because the rest of your life will be full of good fortune." That's what the woman says to him. Of the dad running away with, it looks like a cash register that he stole from either a store or someplace, and he falls down the stairs. And when he falls down the stairs, he tries to get up, pick up the cash register, and flee. But in doing so, he kind of wanders to the hotel that's ran by our main female lead named Manuel. And she essentially doesn't see him, but I guess the concierge does see him and is just like, wait a minute, is he alive? He's not supposed to be here. If he's here and our manager sees him, he won't be alive for much longer. And then this man wanders down the hall. He sees a gold snake on a vase and he steals it. He eventually comes across a room with a tree and he sees some flowers and he says, "Oh, yes, my son did say that he would like some flowers for his birthday." And he jumps up and he takes the flowers. Now, around this same time, Manuel actually wanders into that room and finds him and says, "Oh, it's been a long time since anyone has been brave enough to think that they can steal from me." And then he says, "Please, I didn't steal anything from you." And then she says, "Are you sure?" And that's when the golden snake kind of slithers out of the man's pocket and to her. And she says, "I can just, have you unalived right here because there's really no energy. It wouldn't take me any effort or energy to have that done. But as I'm looking at you right now, it looks like you're already on the verge of being unalive." And the guy says, "Wait, please, I was only trying to take these flowers to my son. Like, my son is a good kid. He deserves so much. I'm the only parent that he has." He's essentially pleading for his life. And the girl says, "You have a son, huh?" He goes, "Okay, well, I can spare your life and save you if you promise to give me your son." Now, this greedy dad, seeing that he has no choice, he ultimately agrees to, give his son up to her. So, with everything that's going on, years later, it looks like it fast forward, and Manuel is essentially hell bent on cashing in on collecting that boy that she was promised. Because in her mind, that's another worker that she can have at the hotel or someone that she could possibly have maybe take over the hotel because she wants to be done with it. Now, after everything that has happened, his dad being in an accident, his dad almost losing his life, it looks like the dad decides to turn his life around and he tries to go back to the hotel to return the large sum of cash that was bestowed upon him by Manuel to raise his son. And he realizes that what happened wasn't a dream, and he was essentially given a second chance to make sure that he does things right, or his life wasn't going to go well. And in the dad leaving to do that, Manuel actually pulls up and sees the little boy, smiles at him because she remembers, oh, he was assigned to me to, come to my hotel. And so she essentially tells her driver, make sure that you send evening primrose flowers every year on the little boy's birthday so that his dad doesn't forget what he's promised me in return for me saving his life. Fast forward 20 years into the future, we see that Chansung has actually grown up and he's been interviewing at hotel after hotel trying to find a job. But he's also always taking heed of his father warning that if he ever sees the woman named Manuel, to stay clear of her, especially since he understands that the flowers that he's been receiving every year were essentially a warning sign. Now, Manuel does show up on a train and tells him, "I waited for you and I also gave you an extra year. Make sure that you show up to my hotel to work." Chansung essentially is scared, but he also feels like he is not terrified of her and that he probably doesn't have to show up. He did try to leave the country to avoid having to, be given away to this woman. And so she sends him a warning. She sends him the gift of vision, I would say, for his ability now to be able to see deceased people. And he is terrified. She realizes, if he dies, it's not really going to be beneficial to me. I do need his help at the hotel. So she sends a taxi to come and pick him up. Now, he shows up to this hotel. He's going to get trained under Manuel while taking care of all of the hotel guests who are deceased while he is the only living person working at that establishment. And so you just kind of have to uncover what happens. Does Manuel finally get cleared of her position as manager for this hotel? Does Chansung take over for her? Does he overcome his fear of, seeing all these deceased people at a time? Does he befriend anybody at the hotel? What happens to his dad? So, you kind of just have to watch to see how this storyline progresses. But as usual, thank you so much for watching. Okay, thanks. Bye.